Good evening from London, wrestling fans. I'm your host, Ben Allison, and you are watching Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast. On a day where the United Kingdom holds its breath as we nervously await Leon Edwards' UFC welterweight championship defense against Usman, we will be looking back at last night's episode of WWE's flagship television program, SmackDown, where the American Nightmare made Canadians' dreams come true, reuniting Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn as the tribal chief looks to be set to lose his seat at the table. Joining me to talk about all of this and more, Anthony Ricciardi and Clark Taylor. How are you today, Anthony?
Doing all right. Looking forward to talking about the SmackDown.
What about you, Clark?
Dude, I'm fired up to be here. I thought SmackDown was electric last night. We're deep in the heart of Mania season, which is excellent. And then on top of that, it's a fight day. Fight day for me. Normally it's fight night. It's fight day, which is even better. So right after this, I mean, I thought I was excited when we had Jones a couple weeks back and the AEW pay-per-view following that. I don't know if I'm as excited as that, but I'm close. I'm close.
Oh, absolutely. It is a jam-packed day in combat sports because, of course, UFC 286 from the O2 Arena in London will be taking place. The prelims are going to be starting very shortly, and the main card will be starting in a couple of hours. But don't worry, we'll be done well before then. But yeah, we will cover that slightly today. But of course, we're a wrestling podcast, so we're going to be primarily
wrestling first today.
Yeah, we're going to be primarily covering SmackDown. Don't worry, Anthony. But yeah, we will be getting right into it. And let's start with the opening segment of last night's episode of SmackDown, which was the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. He came down to the ring, and we kind of expected him to, talk about Roman. Perhaps we suggested on yesterday's show, Roman comes out and takes him out as a surprise, and I still think that would have been great. But the road they went down was that he called out Kevin and Sami, and Cody cut quite a good promo basically saying that Kevin, when Cody left WWE, introduced him to some friends. Those friends, of course, were the Young Bucks, but they didn't acknowledge who they were on SmackDown. But yeah, you could obviously tell if you were watching. I don't think the crowd picked up on it because, truthfully, the crowd last night was quite bad for the episode. But outside of the Sami and Kevin stuff, they were disappointing, but we'll get a bit more to that later on. But yeah, Cody said to Kevin that he wanted to try and repay the favor by bringing him and Sami back together. Sami then tried to, give an explanation of why he should get back, him and Kevin should get back together, but then said he wanted to hear Kevin's thoughts on why they shouldn't. And yeah, Kevin basically said his piece and then left the arena. The final sentence he said as he was about to leave was, "Why would I want to fight with you when you don't even want to be my friend?" And yeah, that line got a bit of a reaction from the crowd. You could see the shock on Sami Zayn's face. Afterwards, you saw Kevin Owens go into his car and Sami chasing after him. Sami said to ignore about the fighting together stuff, ignore all of it. He will always be his best friends. They are like brothers. And he said all of this stuff. Kevin listened to him and then basically went in his car and drove away. It was a very interesting segment. But what I want to focus on before we get more into Sami and Kevin, I want to firstly focus on Cody Rhodes and his current road to WrestleMania, shall we say. And Clark, I know you're not a fan of it. Me, Clark, and a few others were watching SmackDown last night, and you were not a fan of this Cody segment. Well, sorry, how Cody Rhodes is being booked in the segment, shall I say. And yeah, I think you actually at one point said that he was like a heel to you. I mean, what are your thoughts on all of this? What is your issue with Cody's current booking?
I definitely said the heel line, probably in jest, but was trying to make a point in a sense. For me, I love Cody Rhodes. I really do think he's an amazing in-ring talent. This road to WrestleMania thing is really cool, and the story is really cool, and the pec injury is as big a part of it as the full circle moments, the Dusty Rhodes involvement, and all of that. The issue I have of late with Cody Rhodes is, logically speaking, Sami Zayn was at the way the story was told with his involvement in the bloodline. It makes sense as a babyface. Cody, since he's been in the ring with Roman Reigns, the one time and then involved in this storyline outside of the stuff with his father doesn't come across as a babyface to me. He's out there in a suit every week calling the shots. And that's heel behavior on paper. Now, we know about Cody Rhodes and we know his history, but at the end of the day, he's out there in a suit having meetings to try to reformulate a juggernaut of a team in Sammy and Kevin Owens to take down the bloodline from the outside too. I'm like, that's not a babyface. He's calling the shots. And he hasn't been threatened by Roman Reigns physically in any sense yet. I understand waiting for them to touch till the big moment at Mania, and there's matches where that makes sense. I don't think this is one. And I think from here for me to truly establish that Cody's not only the babyface, but he's fighting from underneath and he's the underdog, even though the story is there for him to overcome all those odds. The odds he's overcoming are intangible odds. At this moment, it's the pressure. It's can he finally win the big one? Can he avenge what they did with his father's title reign and whatnot? Not that Roman Reigns is threatening to him. In fact, at this point in the story between them two specifically, I feel like Cody's only gotten one over on Roman every time. And I'm not calling him a full-fledged heel, but coming out of this, if he's going to come down in a suit every week and start telling people what to do, that is a heel. And I'm worried for it beyond Mania, not necessarily on the way there as much, but it would be nice on the way there to get back to a point where we feel like Roman Reigns is almost an insurmountable task. He's almost impossible to beat. And it doesn't feel like that right now. Cody Rhodes has made it not feel like that too in all of his bloodline related encounters. He's made it feel like he's really, 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 really threatening to Roman. Like he can match all of what Roman can do. Not just in the ring, but calling shots. He just reformed Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn.
Yeah, I mean, I do see it. And I mean, to be fair, it usually is the heels who do wear suits. I mean, I will say this. I think Cody feels a lot more like a star in a suit than without a suit. It is weird. I think he's one of the very few baby faces who does suit, I'd say, the suit. I didn't mean to make a pun there, but but yeah, I mean, it's what it is. I mean, you do make some good points there. I mean, I personally do think they do have to be careful booking him. You never want to make in this day and age a face look too strong, otherwise fans turn on them. We've seen it time and time again. I do get it, and I do definitely think Roman needs to look stronger going into WrestleMania because so far in this feud, I mean, there's not really much of a feud. It's been Roman. Honestly, I don't think that was Cody's fault. I actually think it's more Roman Reigns not showing up for most of these weeks. I think it is starting to rather annoy me. I mean, he's missed 2 SmackDowns in a row now and 1 Raw. I know he's going to be there on Monday for Raw, but I mean, he should not be taking weeks off on the road to WrestleMania, unless, of course, there's something we don't know about in the background. But as a general rule of thumb, he should not be taking weeks off in the road to WrestleMania at all. It's not what you do when you're the face of the company. The rest of the year, I understand it, right? He's an attraction, but on the road to WrestleMania, he should be there. What are your thoughts on it all, Anthony?
Honestly, I don't have a problem with Cody in a suit. Cody likes wearing suits. He said it in interviews. I don't have an issue with it. As far as him with KO and Sammy, I mean, these are 2 guys that he's friends with outside the ring. They were close to his father. He's trying to help them rekindle their friendship. I don't really see an issue with it. They haven't shied away from the Cody-Sammy thing because I know people were concerned. Oh, no, they're going to turn on him for Sammy. I never had a doubt on that Cody was fine. So I didn't have an issue with it. I thought the segment went well, especially because of what it was building up to that we eventually saw at the end. So I didn't have an issue with it. I think it's fine. Should Roman be there more? Yes, but I'm really not concerned with it. I don't really think it's that big of an issue that it's a problem as of right now. I really don't think so.
My question for both of you is, at this moment in time, does Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns feel important enough, the feud, from a WrestleMania main event? Clark, you go first.
Oh, I think it's a really, really, really tough answer there. I think it's somewhere in between where, based on the history, it feels incredibly important. And based on the initial interactions, based on like the initial promos and whatnot, part of me makes it feels like it's incredibly important. And I also understand the idea of, again, them not touching.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like a blood feud. It feels like a fight between guys that respect each other too much, which I feel like doesn't fit Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns along this whole way has used the numbers advantage and his resources to get the leg up on everyone. And he's yet to do so with Cody Rhodes. And I can't figure that out. And I don't know if that's on Cody or Roman or on who, but that would be my answer is, does it feel important? Absolutely. Does it feel like must see? Does it feel like I just want to see Cody get his hands on that heel, that asshole, right? I want to see him get his hand. I want to see him punch him in the face, for lack of a better term, right?
Yeah.
I don't know about that. I want to see a really high quality match for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm too confident that Cody's going to look really good in this match and win.
Yeah.
And I feel like I shouldn't feel that way.
Absolutely not. And I'm actually going to say something here. I'm going to say something highly, highly, highly controversial, perhaps one of the most controversial takes I've had on this show. And that is that, honestly, Roman Reigns versus Triple H WrestleMania 32 actually felt more important to me at this stage, at least, than Cody versus Roman Reigns does. And I mean, the entire thing with that main event at the time was people saying it didn't feel like a WrestleMania main event. I actually feel that feud felt more important than this one does, because that one was obvious too, but there seemed to be more like violence between the two. They just seemed, there was a lot more passion, a lot more, it was just all of that. And Cody and Roman, they just haven't built that yet because they've not been in the ring together enough, truthfully. But Anthony, back to the original question, what's your thoughts? Do you think that this currently does feel like a WrestleMania main event?
Yeah, I mean, Roman's been a dominant champion for over 900 days. During that entire run, for the most part, Cody has not been there. Roman's gone through everybody in WWE, essentially. So it would be fitting that the guy that was not in the company is the one that dethrones him. The guy that's trying to finally get to the top of the mountain that no one in his family has ever been able to do. So for me, I like the match. I like the story behind it. Personally, I feel connected to it for my own personal reasons. So I like it.
Yeah, that is a great point there. And I mean, you actually just explained the storyline fantastically, but they kind of haven't explained that. How you explained it's great, but they haven't on TV explained it. They haven't explained that somebody, nobody in WWE could beat him. So somebody from elsewhere had to come back to try and reclaim the throne that he thought was his, which he was never able to achieve. His father never ended up getting there, that he wants to come back. They haven't told that story. They mentioned about Dusty not being, not getting that championship. They acknowledge that. But they don't acknowledge Cody coming back for it as much as I think they should have. And I don't think, it's something which I'm surprised Heyman hasn't really gone after in his promos, saying that nobody here could beat Roman. So Cody decided to come over and take his chances. There's just something missing from the storyline, and I do think a large part of it is Roman Reigns, to be truthful. I'm going to be completely honest here. I don't think you can put much of the blame on Cody. I really don't. I think, sure, you can say, well, no, actually, how can you look weak when the champion's not there?
Yeah, it's hard.
Because it's kind of is a thing of, I don't even think this is Cody's booking. I think this is the fact Roman's not there that's kind of screwing it up, to be brutally honest.
I mean, hopefully they've got 2 weeks to connect some more dots along the way. And if they do, then guess what? In 2 weeks, we're talking about it like, wait a minute, they did it, right? This is perfect. And so let's I would say that's what I'm hoping for, right? Is connect those dots, have Roman show up on Raw or SmackDown this week, right? We've got an extra week along the way, not just the 2 go-home shows, but we have 2 before that. And let's have Roman in the building, and let's have Roman and Cody connect some of those dots that are missing, right? Let's find that missing piece as quick as we can.
Absolutely, I 110% agree with you there. And you got someone in the comments. You might have saw my expression a second ago. Don't know what this is about, but he's saying that Soul's saying he will be back on the podcast tomorrow, of course, for the pub quiz, the Thunderdome pub quiz. It's going to be an absolutely fantastic episode. Where
Grammar Police, I think he meant stay tuned.
Pardon?
Sorry. Grammar Police,
Oh.
I think he meant stay tuned. With a D.
Yeah, so Soul's going to be here for the pub quiz tomorrow. It's going to be fantastic. But second half of it, as Clark just touched upon, he says he's been busy talking to a possible future guest. Stay tuned, everybody. Yeah, as Clark mentioned, this tune. But yeah, that is very, very interesting. And I mean, those emojis are very interesting too. The umbrella and then the villainous emoji, I guess one could say. But anyway, we'll have to see where that goes, guys. Let's move on to the next topic, and that is Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Like I left off on 5 minutes ago, Kevin drove off as Sami was there in shock. And yeah, basically, Sami then came back. He was being interviewed. He said that he's going to have to do it on his own. He's going to have to, face the music, go out there and just... Basically, he just hinted that he knew the Bloodline was going to take him out. Him and Jay got in the same ring in the main event slot of the evening. And yeah, it was a really, really great segment. Jay did great. Sami said that, Jay, you did have a choice. Jay said, no, I didn't have a choice. Jay said, I trusted you and you betrayed me. Sami justified it. You could see both perspectives. You could. Then it turned violent. Jimmy Uso got involved too. So it was a 2-on-1. And then Kevin Owens' music hit out of nowhere. Kevin Owens was back in the arena to come save his former and now seemingly once again best friend Sami Zayn. It was tremendous. And yeah, Kevin cleans house. Then there's Sami and Kevin in the ring together, standing opposite each other. And this is my favorite part. Kevin had just taken out the Bloodline. He was in a really angry mood. He steps towards Sami Zayn. Sami steps back because he thought he was going to take him out or something. And then they embrace, they hug it out. Sami's shocked for a second, then hugs him too. It was fantastic the way they did this. Like I said on yesterday's show, I don't know if you had to do it this early. I think maybe you could have waited another week or two and done it literally right before Mania. But the way they did it was great too. That was the focus point of this episode of SmackDown. Roman wasn't there, so I mean, it at least made this episode still important. And yeah, it was a fantastic segment. I really enjoyed it. I truly, truly did. Sami and Kevin are back together again, and I'm glad to see it. What are your thoughts on it all, Anthony?
I thought they played it off well. I mean, this is kind of what I was saying other times, that, I'm glad they didn't just go straight to, oh, we're friends again. They drug it out, which I thought was smart. I did think they probably might have drug it out a little longer, but like you said, it filled in the blank of Roman not there, so it didn't matter as much that Roman wasn't there because that was the focus of the story. That's the image that you're going to have. It's a road to WrestleMania type thing. They're friends again. And, this is the first time they're going for tag team gold in 13, 14 years. I think it was like 28, I think is so 15 years that they were tag champs in Ring of Honor. This is the first time they're going for tag team. I don't think they ever went for tag team gold even when they were tagging in WWE for the short time a few years ago. I don't think off the top of my head. So I think this is the first time they're going in 15 years going for tag titles. And it's the one title that Kevin hasn't held to give him his Grand Slam.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, like you said, I can't remember them ever facing for tag team championships. I don't think they did in Ring of Honor, did they?
No, they were Ring of Honor tag champs.
Wait, sorry, they were. Ignore me then. I'm completely wrong.
They were Ring of Honor tag team.
Oh wait,
I don't
El
know.
Generico.
Of course they did. They had the ladder match for it. That's sorry. My head's blank. You can tell. I'm too excited about today's UFC card. I'll pretend that's what it is. But no, you are right. It's
they lost to the Bucks, I believe, if I remember correctly. Then the feud started.
I don't think I.
Either way, another great point Anthony made though that I loved was about KO getting the Grand Slam. That is wild, and it makes it more wild to me that Sammy's as far behind as he is because
he's just one more title away.
Right,
if he won the tag belts.
Right, which I feel like is a bigger mountain to climb, but it's ironic because right this second, I would say for the first time in a long time, maybe since the NXT time where Kevin kind of had been moved up and had his lull, Sammy was still. I would say Sammy's stock is higher slightly than Kevin's.
Yeah.
So with them being paired together and Kevin then getting his Grand Slam, the split for the maybe the final feud, who knows? But to see him feud again is going to be ironic.
I don't want to see it again. To be truthful, I don't want to see it again. I don't want to see it again.
It's a 180 from last year.
Yeah.
He's fighting a jackass last year, literally. And now he's going for tag team gold, and it was in the hottest storyline. And one of the things you frequently point out, Clark, they're both wearing shirts with duct tape imagery on them. So I don't know whether or not that's.
They are. That was the most interesting thing to me is when they duct taped over the Uso thing.
Yeah.
Kevin Owens' shirt has had duct tape on it for months. I don't know if I even mentioned that to you, Ben. Thank you, Anthony, by the way. I felt like that was one of my best spots in a long time.
Yeah.
Like just the little nugget of a hint with Sammy having the duct tape on his shirt, KO having the duct tape on his shirt, and then the synergy there. And I will say my thoughts on the follow-up segment definitely put me at ease compared to the initial segment.
Yeah.
With what happened with Cody. I was concerned more about the Cody aspect than it was the Sammy and Kevin. It made more sense to me that the way it worked out. In hindsight, it all worked out okay. Really, really, really matters what they do on Monday, though, I think. For Cody, because I want Cody to come in feeling like Shawn versus Brett, where it's like, oh man, he's got to overcome this big thing. But if he does, the building's going to explode, the roof's going to explode, and the pop is going to be crazy because this is what we all want to see, right? Take down the bad guy, Cody, tell the story, finish the story, right? All of that. That's what we want to see, but we want to feel all of that along the way, and just let's get Roman in the building on Monday and make sure we get all the way there.
Yeah, he needs to be there for the next 4 shows. They got 2 Raws and 2 SmackDowns before Mania. He needs to be there for every single one of them. The fact he hasn't even been on any show this and last week is bad. It really is.
There was the little moment with KO and Sammy when Sammy chased them down in the parking lot and they had the conversation. And I love the line when, Sammy was like, listen, you can never talk to me again, but you're always going to be my friend. And there was this slight hesitation from KO before he got in the car, which I thought was great because it was subtle, but it was like, damn it. And he got in the car and drove off. But you knew he was coming back, but that slight hesitation was perfect.
I'm actually going to be honest. I didn't think he would last night. I thought it was going to continue to drag a little bit. Well, I was actually genuinely surprised.
And I had a feeling they were going to do it last night when he went back out to talk to him. If they didn't do that, and if it was just the Cody segment, I'd be like, yeah, he ain't coming back. But the fact that they did that again, and I love the fact the camera was following it the whole time, and you saw KO actually drive out of the parking lot.
Yeah.
Subtle, but it was a nice touch.
There was a lot of little subtle things, like I already mentioned, the step back with some Sammy as well. That was it's fantastic, and these little subtle details all around in this Bloodline versus Sammy feud, right? The little subtle details have made
quality acting. It really is.
It kind of annoys me why we've talked about this so many times, but how the creative can be this flipping amazing for this, and then for the rest.
Can I be honest? I think there's a different person booking the Bloodline than the rest of the show. Whether it's Heyman, there's people involved with this that are not a part of the other creative team because there's no way it's the same people.
Heyman isn't. What I know is Heyman is involved in this, and he's not involved in anything else. He's still. It still does come down to Triple H, but no, it is.
I get it.
It is. Yeah. It is. Heyman that is involved in this. So, I mean, he
You
could
could tell.
well be the one. I know he could well be the one. He probably is the one we should be giving a lot of credit to about it. And Melissa Robinson is in the comments saying Festival of Friendship Part 2. No, please, can we not have them turn? No, please. I just want them to stay together now. We've seen it too many times. Keep them together now, or having them split by the brand split at some point. Keep them friendly. I don't want to see. We've seen them too many times face off against each other. To be honest,
you don't want another KO portrait like Jericho gave him, because that was
amazing. That was amazing.
I think he needs a second one just with Sammy on it now.
I think this time like a sculpture.
Oh my!
This time a sculpture, a KO sculpture would be amazing.
Yeah, I could see that.
Like a nice clay piece of Kevin.
Big gut,
Yeah, just looks horrible too. It would be so funny.
Oh my gosh, that would be brilliant. And we got some breaking news here from Jacob from our MMA group, who's saying that apparently there's been a power cut in the O2 currently.
No way, we got a delay.
There might be a bit of a delay to the UFC 286 show.
Oddly, might be helpful for us for watching purposes after the show.
Good. And well, actually, perfect timing, Jacob, actually, because let's actually want to quickly go to our MMA expert, Clark Taylor.
Let's
I
do
want
it.
you to give your predictions for the UFC 286 main card. And I've already acknowledged about Leon Edwards. Please, can he retain his championship against Usman? I'm a bit nervous about it, but yeah. What are your predictions then, Clark?
So this is a fun main card. In the opening bout, we got Marvin Vettori and Roman Dolidze, I believe is how you say it. But Vettori's going to win this one. He's a big favorite, and he's the number 4 middleweight in the world. The Georgian Dolidze is number 9, but Vettori wins this one, I think, by a unanimous decision. I think this goes to the cards because I think he puts him on his back and uses ground control to dominate the majority of the fight. And the next one, we got Jennifer Maia versus Casey O'Neill. I'm actually going to take the underdog in this one. Jennifer Maia by submission against Casey O'Neill from Australia. She's number 8 in the women's flyweight division, number 12, Casey O'Neill. I just think if this does go to the ground, Maia's jiu-jitsu is so sublime. She's going to get a hold of a limb or get a hold of the neck, and she gets the finish. I'm going to call round 2. Next up, welterweight bout, Gunnar Nelson versus Brian Barberena, who we saw fight Robbie Lawler last. This is going to be a fun one. Gunnar Nelson's popular locally, obviously given his friendship with Conor McGregor. And then you've got Brian Barberena, who's willing to slug with anyone, but Gunnar wants to grapple, and Gunnar's going to grapple. And this is going to be probably a quick submission, I think, maybe in the first round. I think Gunnar gets him. It's going to be like quicksand. If Brian can keep it on the feet, it could be a competitive fight, but I've got Gunnar Nelson by submission in the first round. And then in the co-main event of the evening, we got Justin Gaethje and Rafael Fiziev. This fight's electric. You got 2 of the most exciting guys in the lightweight division, which is probably the most exciting division in the UFC. Gaethje versus Fiziev. Gosh, Fiziev's the favorite, but Gaethje is the long-established. You don't want to call him a gatekeeper, but man, you got to get past him to be in the title picture. He's been in the title picture forever. He's number 3 in the division. Fiziev's number 6. But you just do not see Muay Thai and kickboxing capabilities out of 155 pounders that Fiziev has. He's got Thai fighting that you really only see in Thailand or Holland. And I think he lands one, a big one on Gaethje. I'm going to call second round technical knockout Rafael Fiziev. And then in the main event, man, would I like to pick the hometown kid, Rocky. And I really like him. And I think he's going to sure up some spots. And I think he did better in the fight in Utah than people give him credit for before the headshot. Now, in this one, I think he comes out, and I think the crowd noise on top of the hometown aspect, on top of the fact that he's lost, 8 rounds of 10 that he's fought against Usman. And I think that after a early flurry, I think he looks crisp, is changing stances, and is on point. But I think when it gets into check the gas tank territory in the 3rd and 4th round, that's where Kamaru takes over, gets him up against the cage, starts to get the takedowns, wears him down. And I'm going to call Kamaru Usman by unanimous decision. And that's our main card for the UFC tonight. I'm going.
Wow, some great predictions there, Clark. And the guy who I've touted as the next big thing in the flyweight division, Mokaev.
Okay.
I need to figure out how to pronounce it. But I've seen his last few fights. He's absolutely fantastic, and he is currently, as we speak, completely dominating Philo. So I think it's going to be an easy decision there as well. But let's get back on to the wrestling, and let's get back on to last night's episode of SmackDown. And another feud going into WrestleMania is Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley. And this is one which, to be honest, I've not really felt this feud so far. However, last night a little bit of spice was added to it. When Charlotte came out, was cutting a promo before Rhea Ripley came out, cut a bit of a promo. The promo exchange was good, but like we've said, pretty much this entire feud has been promo so far. It was missing something. And what it was missing was something physical. And the two basically broke it into a brawl, and it was really good. It felt important. It was the first time in this feud where it really felt important. I think it's still a long way from feeling like a WrestleMania feud, but it did help. What were your thoughts on it, Clark?
With this one, the two women put them on a poster, and you can fill almost any building, I feel like. I mean, just the stare down should be enough. I feel like this is one of those odd times where, as entertaining as the Judgment Day stuff has become of late, even though I didn't like it initially, with Dominic and Rhea, this is where Dominic is kind of holding her back. Because Ripley and Charlotte, you can play into the history at WrestleMania 36 for starters. The physicality last night was excellent, but Ripley needs to look like I got compared to Charlotte at first because of our size and physicality as women and our athletic ability, but I'm different, right? That's why I've got the short hair, the dark hair, the look is different. And not only am I different in the sense of my personality, I'm different in I'm out here to hurt Charlotte Flair, because I don't know who the babyface is in this feud. And
that's a good point.
That's the hardest part for me is I want Ripley to look as threatening as she truly is, because you just don't get the kind of physicality that she can deliver bell to bell from many people. And there's not many people that can look physically intimidating standing across, making eye contact in a stare down with Charlotte Flair, and Ripley can and does. And that's something I think needs to be taken advantage of.
Yeah, absolutely. And what about you, Anthony? What have your thoughts been on this feud so far, and where would you go from here?
I mean, honestly, I think the match is going to deliver anyway because it's the two of them. As far as the feud itself, it's been I mean, it's not nothing that I'm like, oh, they've done such a great job with this. I mean, it is what it is. It's kind of built up of two women that are two of the best in the business facing each other. That's kind of the hype behind it. The physicality I thought was a good idea. I don't know about the execution though. You had all these people, agents and refs out there to try to hold them apart. It seemed kind of ridiculous that all those people could not hold these two women apart. Like this was not Brock and Lashley going at one another. You're telling me that some of these people that are former wrestlers couldn't hold them back? Like they didn't even go near them. Like, oh, they brought more people out. There was like 20 people out there. It was a bit ridiculous visually, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I think that's been a complaint of a lot of these brawls over the years, and it is a very, very solid complaint to have. But yeah, let's just hope from here this feud continues to get a bit more interesting over the couple weeks, because we literally are now 2 weeks away from WrestleMania. It's 2 weeks today, night one. Like it's scarily close, and they need to build it quickly. We do have some breaking news, and after I just said about Mokaev, dominating, he was putting a leg lock, and
he got heel hooked.
Leg lock too, but he escaped it in what Jacob from our MMA group is saying the greatest leg lock escape he's ever witnessed.
Wow!
And he ended up coming, and he won by submission. And I mean, he 100% did deserve to win that one. But yeah, that is some breaking news. A very good fight, actually. But yeah,
it's good to see the gentle art being used. Jiu-jitsu. Let's go.
Oh, gosh. Let's now talk about our final topic from last night's SmackDown, and that was the last match of the night yesterday, and that was Sheamus and McIntyre. And yes, being real here, it probably wasn't as good of a match as a lot of people hoped, but it was still a very fun match. And the ending was exactly what you called yesterday, Clark. The broken Claymore, same time, bang, looked great, sounded great, and the crowd were awful. The crowd were completely dead for this match, which really harmed it. After the double, I would have preferred after they both got hit with each other's finishers, if they just stayed down and counted, the referee counted to 10. Instead, Gunther got in the ring and then they started to take them out. I'm going to be honest, I don't think I would have done that. But anyway, then Adam Pearce came on and he's like, well, Gunther, your actions didn't show that you didn't want a triple threat. You were doing a triple threat at Mania. Gunther then acted all surprised, and considering the Gunther character is meant to have a high IQ and all of that, the way they did it didn't quite sit well with me. But they 100% are going in the right direction. This is a match which everybody wants to see at Mania, and it's going to be phenomenal. I'm super excited for it. It's certainly a way to get the title off Gunther now. Obviously, because he doesn't need to be pinned. So if they do want to put, have Gunther be a challenger for Cody Rhodes or Roman Reigns after Mania, this is probably the way that you get the title off of him. But Anthony, what were your thoughts on this match and the ending, especially?
Well, first off, I want to give credit because Clark called this triple threat a long time ago. He was the one that called it. The finish is kind of funny because between the two of us, Clark and I pretty much picked the finish. He said the double Claymore and Bro kick, and I said that Imperium was going to take them both out. So between the two of us, we booked the finish. It is the right direction. The triple threat is the smart play here. Do I think Sheamus is probably the odds-on favorite because it's the only belt he hasn't won? Probably. Gunther's already achieved, if I'm not mistaken, I think he passed Honky Tonk. So I believe Gunther is the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion, if I'm not mistaken. So he has the record, which is what I think which is probably where they were aiming to give him at least the record. So I think it's the right move.
What about you, Clark?
No doubt. And Anthony, thank you for the credit there. Yes, we did tag team co-book that last night. It was kind of hilarious. Actually, when I was playing out, I was like, dang, did I spoil it for myself on accident? Kind of. We both did a little bit. It was like, this is great. But I also and then Ben, I think you made a great point about what was up with the crowd. That was such a cool spot. How's there no pop for that? And then lastly, you made another point about how high IQ Gunther's supposed to be. Him being outsmarted, I don't know. But at the same time, if it was executed by not Adam Pearce, if it was executed by somehow McIntyre and Sheamus outsmarted him to get into the match, that might have been cool. That might have been a cool aspect of the story. And then he uses the numbers anyway. I don't know. It was odd him being outsmarted by Pearce, of all people, right? As opposed to McIntyre and Sheamus themselves.
Yeah.
Now, at the end of the day, Anthony, you're spot on. It's the right move. Triple threat's been the right move the whole way. It's going to be like I said, turn the volume up on your TV when this match comes on, whether it's night 1 or night 2, and just listen. In the building, it'll be loud with, nearly 100,000 people, but all you're going to have to do is just listen to this match. McIntyre, Sheamus, Gunther are going to hit the crap out of each other. It's just going to be a slugfest, and it's exciting, and it's awesome, and it's perfect for Mania. And so that's enough for me, especially when it comes to this one. As much as I can nitpick compared to some of the other storylines, I almost don't care. I just want to see them beat the crap out of each other, and that's what they're going to do.
That is a great point. It is. Soul's just said in the comments here that this is the match which he's now most excited for WrestleMania. And truthfully, I think a lot of people share his opinion. At Clash at the Castle, Sheamus and Gunther was amazing. It truly was. So for me, I said it yesterday as well, but for me, I'd be there for both of the matches with Sheamus and Gunther involved. Sorry, there was also another one on SmackDown, but both the pay-per-view premium live event matches. That is fantastic. And Clark, what match are you currently most excited for WrestleMania?
Ooh, that is a really good question. Bell to Bell, Kevin and Sammy and the Usos for sure. To be totally honest, I'm oddly excited about a few different ones. I'm excited to see what Rollins and Paul bring, only because it's out of my wheelhouse, but I just have a weird feeling. I hate to say it, but I think that one might steal one of the nights.
Yeah.
Just because of I don't want to say spot fest, but they're gonna do extreme spots with WWE production. So like the elbow drop with the selfie and everything, stuff like that I think can really elevate that one. I wouldn't say it's the one I'm most excited about, but that's like kind of my dark horse for me to be more excited than I realized. The triple threat's way up there for sure. But at the end of the day, the tag team match, because of the 4 talents involved, bell to bell, the story the whole way, that if I had to pick one, that's the one for me.
What about you, Anthony? Which one, if you had to pick one, would you say?
I mean, for me, I have a personal emotional tie to the Roman Cody match, and that's probably the one. But as far as match quality, I think that the triple threat's going to be one. I think Seth and Logan will probably surprise a lot of people. I expect a lot of WrestleMania moments out of it. The other one, like Clark said, the tag title match. I mean, it's KO and Sammy. They're back together. They're facing I believe they are the longest reigning tag champs at this point. They passed the New Day, right? At this point. So I mean, yeah. So I mean, you're going to see a lot of long title reigns potentially end at Mania. You could see tag title changes. You could see the world title change and the Intercontinental. They're all the longest reigning champs currently, other than the world. Obviously, no one's touching Bruno's record. But just in general, the longest reigning for the longest time in WrestleMania is the ideal spot to do that.
Yeah. And all at once, the bloodline just crumbling. I said it a couple of months ago. I mean, you both picked bloodline related matches as well, which is very interesting. And honestly, I'm going to agree with you guys. I mean, for me, I am actually stuck between those two. But if I did have to pick one, I'm actually going to go with the tag team match purely because I can just. The crowd is going to be amazing at Mania for Sammy and Kevin as well, and it's just going to be absolutely terrific. Triple threat is up there too. I honestly think Seth and Logan, even though I think Seth deserves better, I do think that is going to be certainly a hell of a match. Hopefully, I'm sure Rhea and Charlotte will deliver on the night. I'm certain of it. I'm just hoping a bit more spice and flavor gets added to this feud. And also another one which I'm excited for, if it does happen, is Dominic Rey. That is, I mean, overall, going to be completely honest, this is a very good WrestleMania card. I'm certainly excited for both nights of the show. Us three are going to be there live. Soul's going to be there live. Chaos is going to be there live. Kobe's going to be there live. We're all going to be there live in Los Angeles.
Both nights.
There's been tons of content. We're going to be pumping out content right, left, and center that week. But yeah, guys, now pretty much brings us to the end of today's show. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We really appreciate it. Please leave a like, comment below, all of that jazz. It helps us out. We're going to be back here tomorrow at 8 p.m. UK time. That is 1 p.m. Pacific and 4 p.m. Eastern. And it is going to be a Thunderdome pub quiz Sunday fun day, baby. It's going to be one hell of an episode. Clark, I imagine you're already trying to think of possible ways to say that you've been screwed over.
I've been reading encyclopedias. I've been doing my homework. I'm ready for the next quiz. That's 10 a.m. Hawaiian tomorrow. I'll be ready. I've been basically just reading through old encyclopedias since the last one, and I'm going to make sure that I'm over prepped compared to before.
They'll be protesting in the streets.
Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.